Hey, poker people, it's Sky with Smart Poker Study. Thank you so much for tuning in to this behind the scenes video for the 5-minute poker coaching series. Just the other day, I released video number 12 where I analyzed Puppy Brobart's database and I helped him plug the leak of losing money when calling out of the small blind. So this behind the scenes video took place on Twitch. I dove into his database, figured out his leak, filtered for some hands, used the Hold'em hand range visualizer, and then I filled out that Word document in order to make the video that maybe you already saw, but if you didn't, there's a video right up above for you to click on right now. Speaking of clicking, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and then ding that bell for notifications if you enjoyed this video. And I thank you very much for doing that. So with this video, make sure you have Poker Tracker 4 open for yourself, and whatever I'm doing in the video, follow along. You know, it's going to help you learn how to use Poker Tracker 4, and then you might actually discover some of your own leaks. Let's do it. This is another behind the scenes coaching or behind the scenes of the 5-minute poker coaching series on YouTube. So I've got one of my listeners, Puppy Brobart here, ACR player, America's Card Room on the Winning Network. You can see that W right up there. 32,000 hands, -107, -4 on the win rate. Not the worst win rate in the world, but of course, could stand to be improved and at least be positive, right? So let's see here. This is the Word document that I always work from. So this is going to be the 12th Brobart. I like that name, Puppy Brobart. Fun stuff. Don't know what the leak is going to be yet. Let's see here. There we go. I noticed something. We're going to talk about filters, a sticky note I'll give, purposeful practice study. Okay, good. So just creating this, the Word document, of course. So we got to go through and start looking at Puppy Brobart stats here and maybe filtering for some hands and stuff to see if we can't find an area that he's leaking. So altogether 22-17. So on the tight aggressive side, getting to be a loose aggressive. I often think of loose aggressive players at right around 25 VPIP and then like 18-19 PFR. So that would be semi-loose aggressive. So he's getting there. A pretty active player right here. 32,000 hands. So positive in all the non-blind positions. That's good. This is the one that concerns me. Well, -5 in the cutoff. Hey, Mr. Balzer, hello. There is a 1 second delay. Or it might be 5 seconds, but I set it for 1. Let's see here. This is a little concerning. You know, your win rate should be growing as position gets later. 5,000 hands, but there could be a few like big losing hands where he lost just a lot of money and it's kind of throwing off this result right here. So I might want to look into some cutoff hands as well, but let's take a look at stats. I'm not seeing big gaps between anything other than on the big blind, raising only 8%. He treats the big blind as a discount to call right here. So he's doing a lot of big blind calling. So we'll look at some calling filters in just a little bit. Let's see here. Limping in the small blind, okay. Raising limpers, looking good. He does it more frequently as position gets later. I like it. 3-betting out of the blinds, good. I like the 3-bet re-stealing he's got going on here. Calling the 2-bets out of the big blind quite frequently at 25%. So when I filter for that, we'll see what that does to his win rate right there. Raise first in, and it gets higher as it goes. Out of the big blind, 57%, which means that when the small blind limps in, I guess. Or actually, it might be... No, it might be just heads-up situations. That's right. Let's see here. 2-bet pre-flop and fold. Okay, 4-bet more. Just looking at the stats, seeing if I see anything really crazy. I do not see anything, not yet at least. Calling the steals out of the big blind. Okay, that's a little frequent, but we'll see what his calling win rate is here. When it comes to C betting, 70, 52, so a bit turn honest, but I think I covered that in a prior 5-minute coaching video, so I won't talk about turn honesty unless I find that it's really bad. Then I can do some research on that, see what exactly I talked about in a prior video. %43 folding, 39% folding on the turn. River 31. Okay. Check raising at the flop. A value honest check raiser. So if Puppy Brobart check raises you, he's doing it for value. The small blind might be the only place where he might throw in a couple bluffs. Probe the turn. AF flop. 1-9. Okay, looking good on the AF. One win soft flop. Okay. Call river and 1 at showdown. I covered that in a very recent video, so I won't talk about that now. But I mean, really, you want this percentage to be as high as possible, and hopefully you're positive when you are calling those river bets, because that's when people are going for max value. The pot's the biggest. If you make mistakes on the river, that's when you lose the most money when you're calling, and some various other stats here. Okay, good. So let's run some filters first. First off, when it comes to 2-betting. Okay, positive. So every hand that he 2-bets, roughly 3/4 of a big blind, 0.75, 4,400 hands. Good. I don't see anything really wrong here. Nothing stands out yet. 2-bet and soft flop in position, only 69. 2-bet, soft flop out. Positive 10, okay. Interesting. But at least he's positive when he's raising. Open raising, or 2-betting. Let's see here. 3-bet positive. Looking good in the EP only 1 time. Okay. But all this, I mean, things are looking really good. He's positive when he's 3-betting too, as we saw he does a lot of stealing out of the, not a lot, but potentially a lot of stealing out of the blinds with 3-bet. So a lot of the other pre-flop targets have a much wider big blind calling range than the kiss ranges. You're absolutely right about that, Mr. Balzer. People do recommend calling a lot more than I do. I don't, because like I've talked about before, calling automatically puts you in a non-bread and butter situation, right? If it's the cutoff, it's the button, anybody in later position open raising, you call in the big blind, sure, you got that 1 big blind discount, but you're automatically putting yourself out of position against somebody with a better range. They raise, they have aces and kings, ace, king, pocket queens, jacks, and tens. You probably don't have any of those because you didn't 3-bet. So yes, I am on the tighter side out of the blinds for sure. 100%. Oh, so he does have a pretty high re-steal 3-bet, and then he's at -6. Okay, so this could be something. Maybe he is doing a lot of just re-stealing with a lot of hands that maybe he shouldn't be. Ace queen, it's not a bad spot at all to be 3-betting. Flopping that top pair, okay. Let's take a look at some big losers. Pocket tens, totally fine. Raise and then a raise and then a call? You're getting it all in with pocket tens? 2-bet, you make the 3-bet. He 5-bet. So yeah, he is a loose aggressive player. 3-bets at 14%, 4-bet at 0 out of 6 so far. You've got to give that 4-bet a lot of respect right there. And then you re-raise, and then he shoves on you. Wow. This could be a leak to address right here. I mean, most likely you're beat. Oh, flopping quads as well. But is he going to be 4-betting with anything worse than tens? I mean, if you think he 4-bets with ace king, yeah, that's possible. If you think he 4-bets right here with ace king, yeah, but is he doing this with 9s? No, he's probably just calling a 3-bet. 8s and 7s, probably just calling right there. Is he doing it with ace queen? Potentially ace queen 4-betting, and ace king potentially, but really a 4-bet like this most of the time is aces or kings, even queens. Yep. Nines, raise, call again with pocket nines. Wow, you might be an unbeliever against 4-bets. Stronger hand. Up against a loose aggressive player. You make it 9 big blinds. Whoops. An unknown player, you make it only 7 big blinds. Huh. And against that, I mean, he's telling you he likes his hand. You don't know anything about the player. You don't know that he's capable of bluffing. So it's not a time to come back over the top. It's a time to just fold. You tried to 3-bet to get him to fold and it didn't work. So this is a time to just fold. And then he shoves. Yeah, your 16 bucks is toast. You're just kissing it goodbye right here. King Jack, raise, call, 8-7, raise, call. So you got a little bit of heads up confrontation here. Open raise, a 3-bet, a 4-bet. Oh, on the smallish side. Well, not really. It's 19 big blinds. It's not that small. And you come back over the top. See, that's actually a better time to just call right there. With a 7-8 suited, you want to see a flop. You don't want to play for your whole stack. When you're raising for almost half of your stack right there, you're going to feel committed at this point. So this could be a leak I could address. But I talked about open raising and then calling 3-bets in a prior video already. Let's see. Mr. Balzer asked a question. Villain's 4-bet stats in that prior hand. This one is, it was 0% out of 6. 0% out of 6 right there. So when he 4-bets, at least the first time, you got to give him the benefit of the doubt. You don't have to. But, I mean, I guarantee we haven't seen many showdown. Actually, we haven't seen any showdown hands from this villain at all. So it's not a time to get crazy with pocket 10s. Pocket queens, aces, of course. Ace 8, a raise, then a call. Okay. And he comes back over the top. I think Puppy Brobart has a weakness for 4-bets here. And he doesn't want to give up his 3-bet bluffs. So that's a potential leak. You only have 4th pair, no flush draw. And then calling just to bluff later on. Okay, trying to rep the flush, but it didn't. Well, definitely not going to work against top set. Raising. So these are all just 3-bet hands. Raise, call with ace queen. Yeah, so this could be something I can tackle right here. Let's take a look at some of these. Raise, fold. Oh, you still lost $20 with it. Almost 80 big blinds there. Pocket 10s. Mr. Baltras, could you put... Yeah, you're right. 7-8 suited falls into a lot of bluff ranges, but not necessarily 3-bet, then 5-bet bluff ranges. You can do that if you want. I don't recommend it. You know, in the micro stakes, when you are... Okay, when you pull a 3-bet bluff, you're doing it because you think your opponent can fold. And if they call, you have some kind of a hand that can potentially flop something big and get some money off of them, right? When you 3-bet bluff and they come back over the top, they're telling you, hey, your bluff's no good here. You should get out of the way. That really is what they're telling you when they come back over the top with a 4-bet. Most players don't 4-bet bluff that frequently. They really don't. So when you have a hand like 7-8, it's an easy fold. Your bluff didn't work. Just get out of there, right? You made the bluff in the first place because you think they can fold. So let's look at that hand again. Where'd that 7-8 go? Okay, cool. So this is kind of tough. You only have 30. Oh, right over here. Oh, so let's move this up here. Villain number 9. So you've seen them folding 63% of the time. And at only 8%, 15 out of 182, you can say they're pretty honest in their 4-bets right here. He comes over the top with a 4-bet. what are the chances that now your 5-bet rebluff is going to work? I don't think they're going to work that often at all. Not often enough to make it. I think you're better off just calling in this spot in order to see the flop and then assess at that point. For sure. And what was your other question? Could you put non-premium hands into the hand visualizer and filter for 4 bets? Oh, I'm just trying to understand your question. So, Mr. Baltzer, you want hand range visualizer. Oh, we could just do this. 4-bet pre-flop. So it's down here now. So when you just go to that little wrench or whatever icon, add it to it. Now you can see down here, 4-bet pre-flop is in. So if we click on that, we could see that Puppy Brobart in every position 4 bets with these hands. That's all you do. So you don't need to put non-premium hands in. They're just all right here. So we can see he's 4-betting with all this kind of stuff right there in all the different positions. If we want to see just the blinds, small blind and big blind right here, these ones, that 7-8 suited that we saw was actually a 5-bet bluff. Cool. So let's go back up top, summary here. What were we on? 3-bet hands. Oh, we were on 3-bet re-steals. Yep, so 3-bet re-stealing, losing when he's making this play. Not losing that bad. It's only -6 big blinds per 100 hands. But it is still a little bit of loss here. Let's keep going. Betting the river, making money, or the opportunity to bet the river. When he actually does make the bet, making plenty of money. Okay, good. So things are going okay. When he has the opportunity to bet the river. Now this is just playing out of the blind, so it's the exact same numbers that we saw before. Right there, just isolated. So -45 total big blinds out of 100 hands win rate. See bread and butter right here, 900 hands, +125. Okay, bread and butter situations heads up, pretty good. What about bread and butter 3-way? +230. Okay, very good. What about bread and butter just 2 to 3 players? Total +136. Okay, good. So he's doing good in bread and butter situations, making plenty of money in every spot except for the small blind, because you're never in bread and butter in the small blind. So that's good stuff. Now this is what I was thinking about earlier right here. When he's calling pre-flop 2 bets, -317 big blinds per 100 hands. So let's say on average you're calling a 2-bet, and your average call is probably right around 3 big blinds. Sometimes they open to 3.5, sometimes just 2.5, quite often just 3 big blinds. If he lost every single one of these hands at a 3 big blind call, he'd be at -300. So altogether that means he's losing more when he's calling than just the amount that he's calling with, right? So this is actually a pretty big leak, 288 hands. This is where he's making the most calls pre-flop, besides the big blind with that bit of a discount. But when he's calling with that bit of a discount, he's actually not doing too bad at all at -62. So I think this is a definite leak. And because I haven't talked about leaks out of the blind yet, I think I want to cover that with Puppy Brobart here. So let's see what kind of hands he's calling with. You were doing 3 bets before. Why didn't you 3-bet this one? Because he's under the gun. See when the HUD pops up. 22-19. Kind of a tight, aggressive, pretty darn aggressive player. Raise first in the EP is Sometimes my computer's slow when I have OBS running. The stats don't pop up right away. So we'll just skip that. But he's pretty loose aggressive player. This seems like a good opportunity to 3-bet to me. Your call, okay, it often is going to elicit a call from this player. Flopping that top pair, check raise for value. 2 pair on a straight draw, flush draw board. 2 just check calling now. The 7 hits. $6. So he's making some pretty good bets and now shoving all in on the river. Man, this is a pretty tough one right here. I think I'm probably going to be making that call right along with you, but I wouldn't doubt he has trips or better, aces or something. Oh, Queen Jack. Interesting. Yeah, your 3-bet pre-flop could have probably gotten him to fold. No, Mr. Balzer, the raise for sim pop-up doesn't show more positions in full ring. It just puts the first 3 positions in a full ring all into EP. And then the next 2 goes into MP and then cutoff button, yada yada. Lots of ace-queen calling. I guess maybe he's tailoring his 3-bet bluffs to the player who opens. Maybe often against under the gun players he's not 3-betting. Just call, flopping that pair. King and Jack, villain 19. I think that was the same villain as the other hand. Ace Deuce offsuit calling, King Queen off calling, King Jack, King 10, King 9 suited. Wow, making a lot of small blind calls that for me, I'm never making. I mean, right now you're just opening yourself up to villain 27 in the big blind to making a nice 3-bet, squeeze, right? He 3-bets at 8% right there. It's only 2 out of 25, but he's at least shown a proclivity to 3-bet. You're giving him a really good opportunity. If he comes over the top, you're going to have to fold. Flopping that second pair, calling, giving value, giving another street of value, and then he had an ace. Yep. That's what happens when you call with these subpar hands. You hit that pair and don't want to give up. So let's see, Queen Jack. Those aren't bad calls. Queen 10. Now Queen 9. Now we're starting getting into very iffy calls here. But nothing below Queen. Oh, okay, Queen 5 and Queen 7. Yeah, some other calls that really you shouldn't be making right here. Just fold that and move on to the next hand. I mean, if you're calling Queen 7, let's whip out Flopzilla. Actually, if you're calling Queen 5, let's go that low. And here it is. Okay, so if you're calling Queen 5, you're probably calling all of these. Probably calling a lot of these, if you're not 3-betting as well. You're going to be calling all these, probably those. Well, let's give every pocket pair. Queen 5 suited, you're probably calling offsuit stuff as well. We saw you calling with some ace-queen suited. Okay, so right here, if you're calling Queen 5, you're most likely calling all of this other stuff as well. And some of them you might be 3-betting. Ace-queen might get 3-bet sometimes, 10s as well. But we've seen you be able to call. Oh, we've seen you even call ace-king. So all of these hands are in your calling range. Just 26% calling out of the small blind. That's 1 out of every 4 times you're in the small blind. You're just really opening yourself up to a couple different things. Number one was in that one hand, you're opening yourself up to, was it this one? Yeah, you're opening up yourself to like this villain 29. You're giving him a really good opportunity to 3-bet. Oh, he's only at 0. It must have been a different hand. So you're opening yourself up to having to fold to 3-bet squeezes. And the other thing is you're automatically out of position when you're calling out of the small blind. So you have that positional disadvantage in anytime you do get to the flop. And you've capped your range. You're telling them, hey, I don't have aces, kings, or queens, so go ahead and play accordingly on the flop, you know? So that's the bad part about it. Plus, it looks like, let's see here. Call C-bet. It looks like Puppy Brobart has a hard time. Yep, Puppy Brobart has a hard time folding to c-bets, and you can see when he's calling those c-bets, negative 169 big blinds per 100 hands. So I bet a lot of these are those second pair, third pair hands that we've seen him calling, and he's just given up value by doing that kind of stuff. So what he should be doing is tightening up his small blind calling ranges so that he gets to the flop with better hands out of the small blind, which is, like I said, the worst position to be in. You open yourself up to 3 bets, and you have a capped range because you just called. Alrighty here. So we've got ourselves, I think this is the leak that we want to tackle here. So what could be, and one of the reasons why I definitely want to tackle this leak is because I don't think I've hit really much out of the blinds in the 5-minute poker coaching series, you know. So the leak would be, I lose too much money when calling out of the small blind. What was his big blind? Man, he's doing better than folding every big blind, so that's okay. I'm not going to say that's Procly is here. Hello. Yep, Mr. Balzer, those are my ranges. Good. Cool beans. So let's see here. Yes, I lose too much money when calling out of the small blind. So how did I notice this? Noticed a poor SB win rate in total. So what did I have filtered for? Call pre-flop 2-bet. Saw it was over negative 300 big blinds per 100 hands. And you know, let's do this too. Let's do the Hold'em hand range visualizer. Just like Mr. Balzer guided us to before. I always have the call pre-flop 2-bet. And let's look at just the small blind here. Good, okay. So you can see a lot of these hands are kind of sensible, just fine calls, right? Pocket pairs and stuff to set mine, suited connectors and stuff, suited aces and stuff. That's the kind of stuff people are often calling. But then we see King 5, Queen 5, Jack 5, Jack 3 suited, Ace 3 through Ace 9 offsuit, Jack 9 offsuit, and 10 9 offsuit. He is doing 8-4, 8-5, 7-4. If he's calling 8-4 and 8-5, actually we can build this range out wider. So if these are the hands he's calling with, he's shown to call with everything. He calls Ace 3, so that means he can occasionally call Ace Deuce as well. King Deuce, Jack 3 even. If he's calling Jack 3, he's capable of calling Queen Deuce. Let's go over here. Let's see here. 10-6, I got 10-7, 8-4, 7-4, so the suited 4s as well. Okay, so you can see, now we actually saw him call 10-9 and Jack 9. What about kings and stuff? No, that's as bad as he gets offsuit hands. Okay, so looking at this, he is capable of calling all of these other hands as well. That means he really does have a small blind calling range of 42%. That is probably near impossible to make profitable. It truly is. You're just calling way too many hands. You're just hoping to hit flops. He's making hopeful calls right here. So what can we say? What was that percentage? 42%. All right. So let's see here. So he's just calling way too much. Impossible. Impossible to make profitable. Okay, so now what sticky note can I have him put on his computer here? He needs to realize, like I already mentioned, that calling Calling is non-bread and butter. Before calling, ask and answer there we go. So the sticky note would be calling is non-bread and butter. Poker. Before calling, ask and answer the question, what situation am I putting myself in? So if we take a look at just any hand here, let's look at the 8-4 suited. Villain 30. Man, they're all over the place. So this is 35. We got 34, 33 right here. Okay, good. So loose aggressive player. Okay. So before making this call, if Puppy Brobart answered the question, before calling, you know, what situation am I getting myself in? This is how he could have answered it. I'm potentially going to be out of position post flop against a loose aggressive player with 8-4 suited. Now, if I just tell you that, if I say, hey, Bob, the other day I played this hand, and before I called on the pre-flop, you know, this is what situation I thought I would be in. Out of position with 8-4 suited against a loose aggressive player, potentially two loose aggressive players. Do you think I should call? Bob would tell me no. Bob would say, no, why would you call there? Just fold that hand. So the good thing about asking yourself a question like this is that if you actually answer and come up with a sensible answer, that answer is going to tell you whether or not you should call or should fold or even come over the top with a 3-bet bluff. A lot of these hands, I bet, let's even go to King 10 offsuit. Let's take a look. We got a couple of them. Let's go to the winning hand. Open raise and then a call. Okay, let's look at the stats when they come up. Okay, so we're looking, okay, right here, this player has a 3-bet at 6%. Loose aggressive player for sure. We have 2,000 hands on them. A small raise and a small call. When he makes this call, Villain 16 is going to say, wow, he only called a min raise. He has a crap hand. He only made a min raise and he's a tight aggressive player. He's got a crap hand. He should come over the top very often with a 3-bet squeeze. Even just with any random ace to bluff with plenty of good hands like King, Queen, Ace, King, Ace, Queen, King, Jack even. Not Queen, Jack, but Ace, Jack, Ace, 10. A lot of those hands should come over the top with a value 3-bet, right? Knowing how you do not like to fold to 3 bets at just 25%. He doesn't like to fold either. He should have a really wide 3-betting range. So before making this call, if Puppy Brobart were to ask the question, what situation am I getting myself in? Well, I am asking for Villain 16 to 3-bet me off my hand. That's the first. If I call, Villain 16 might call as well. Then we're going 3-way to the flop. I'm out of position with a King 10 offsuit. So it's not the worst spot to be in because that pot is so small and I could just play straight forward on the flop. So if that's Puppy Brobart's answer, I can understand making a call here, especially if you think he's not going to 3-bet. But just you're opening yourself up to him in a perfect squeeze opportunity. I bet Puppy Brobart, if you're watching this hand right now, and if you were Villain 16, you would come over the top with a 3-bet squeeze because of the weakness and the weakness displayed, right? So you're just asking yourself to get into a bad situation. So Mr. Balzer asks, can you filter for hands that have called more than 5 instances? I don't know. But if you want, I mean, you can click on it and then scroll up and down and see how many hands there were. You know, 3 actions means there were 3 hands right here. You can also gauge like 1.39. This is the frequency that they've made this call. 1.39 is 1, 2, 3, 4 hands. So 0.35 is only, what, 1 hand. Yep. Does call pre-flop 2-bet include times when you complete the small blind? No, it doesn't. Yep, nice squeeze spot for big blind. You're right about that. So, yeah, like, it's pretty obvious that he's making just way, way too many calls. And so when I actually do the video I'll discuss this. Impossible to preflop. Show Flopzilla range. I'll do that when I make the video as well. The sticky note, calling is non-bread and butter poker. Totally. This is important to know. Most people never think about this. You know, they don't realize that they are profitable when they're the raiser. They're not profitable in general when calling. We're not nearly as profitable. So before calling, ask and answer, what situation am I putting myself in? The answer to this will guide you to the correct play. If you can't answer it, then when in doubt, fold. Like if you're in a situation and you just cannot answer that question, what situation am I putting myself in? You can't even think, oh, on the flop, I'm going to be out of position if I have a king 10 offsuit. I'm telling him I don't have aces. If that kind of stuff doesn't even come to mind, then yeah, you're in doubt. You don't even have a good reason to make the call. You should just fold right there. So let's see here. Over in the slider, ask yourself this question for every post-flop bet you face. So over the next 5 sessions, ask yourself this question before every pre-flop call. Ask and answer, because that is critical. And actually, don't want to put that there. Let's put it right here. So, purposeful play. Over the next 5 sessions, ask and answer this question before every pre-flop call. What situation am I putting myself in? The answer to this will guide you to the correct play. Especially in the blinds. Remember, calling in the small blind is non-B and B to the extreme. This is 100% anti-bread and butter. Tag each confusing, difficult, interesting hand with call. Tag for your post-session reviews. Purposeful study. So I don't think I've ever told anybody to study. Not in these videos yet. So use the Hold'em hand range visualizer to review 10 bad calling hands. Example, Jack 3 suited, Ace 6 offsuit, 7-4 suited. Cool. Take notes on mistakes and work to not repeat them on the field. All right. So let's see here. So for Puppy Brobart, I lose too much money when calling out of the small blind. How did I notice that? Poor small blind win rate. Pretty close to folding every single hand. Oh. I also noticed, oh wait, this is the prior. It's the prior coaching. Poor small blind win rate in total. Good. Call preflop 2-bet was the filter, so it was over? Worse than. Negative 300. Hold'em hand range visualizer. His prior calling was calling upwards of 42%, and so that's when I went to here. Saw this, calling preflop. You look at all these hands out of the small blind, build it in Flopzilla. Okay, we're good. Oh, actually. I'll save it. So quick finding later, so I don't have to rebuild it. Show Flopzilla range, okay. Sticky note, calling is non-bread and butter poker. Before calling, ask yourself, what situation am I putting myself in? Don't want that on a sticky note. If you can't answer it, then when in doubt, fold. Remember, calling a small blind is non-bread and butter to the extreme. Tag each confusing, difficult hand with a call tag for your post-session reviews. And the study, use a hold'em average visuals to review 10 bad calling hands. Example, Jack 3, Ace 4, 7, 4. I could mention others too, but that's, 3 deuce suited even. Yeah. Oh, one other thing. Calling is non-bread and butter poker. Don't call in hopes that you'll hit the flop. All right. Cool beans. All right, so Procly asks, how much do you take for finding leaks for each player? This is something I offered to my audience or to my newsletter group for free, and 13 people took me up on it. So I'm just doing it for those people. I've never charged for something like this. If you want to discuss it, Procly, just send me an email, sky@smartpokerstudy.com, and then we'll work out a charge. Yeah, these people responded to a challenge I offered them, and then so they get this benefit just for interacting through the podcast, you know. Cool beans, but I think I'm good. I think I'm ready to record this video now. I believe I have everything, and I think I can get this one under 5 minutes. Some of my last ones have been 6 or 7 minutes, so I'll get this one not under 5, at least under 6, so 5 minutes and 40 seconds, something like that, you know.